have or any concerns or issues, that would be great. In the chat box, you can also send a message to someone privately, or you can send a message to everyone in the whole group. However, if you send something privately, it is kept in a log afterwards. So don't send anything that you don't want the whole world to know about. What else? So we have a number of presentations today. Some of them will be shown, they're already preloaded into the WebEx system. Other ones will be shown sort of live on the screen. The second computer will actually turn around a little bit later and let you see some of the people in the room as they're talking and asking questions. I think I have to switch it to you, Eric, to get it, have them see it. What you can do is you can, I think, double click on the screen, and maybe that will switch between my computer and Eric's computer. And so you can try that out and let us know if it works. Otherwise, we'll have to switch it some other way later on. What else logistically? Yeah. So we have an open discussion. We have a number of presentations. We'd love to have questions and make sure it's interactive. This is being recorded, so if you do have to go to a meeting or you need a coffee break, you can always listen to the part you missed later. Okay, so with no further ado, I'm going to kick it off for today's agenda and tell you a little bit about our organization and where we're headed for the future, and hopefully generating lots of interest in everyone. So, at 1 Million Solutions in Health, we were originally created in 2011, but we have relaunched ourselves as of this year, as of July or June or July of 2014. And really the goal and the vision of this organization is to help share science, to help share solutions with 3 different categories of people. Those people involved in life sciences, which is what we're talking about today, the life sciences. Those people in healthcare, so hospitals, physicians, nurses, pharmacists, et cetera. And then also picking the brains of patients and consumers and having them become more engaged in their own healthcare. And the idea is that, you know, by sending out one email, we were able to find, you know, let's say 30, 40 people around the world who are available today to have a conversation about this particular idea and this particular technology and this particular science. And think about the magnification of that type of opportunity and the amplification of it, how we can really sort of spread the word and connect people who might not even know that each other's working on a particular idea. You might be sitting in Australia and someone else is sitting in France and someone else is sitting there in Brazil, and now we can put you together with the power of the internet and the power of these sorts of communication tools. So that's our goal and our vision. So really, we're here to help you connect with each other, to accelerate things. It can be really, really frustrating for you to come up with a great idea, and maybe the great idea is to stop doing something, and you have no way to tell anybody else to stop doing that. So learning and sharing is what we're all about. So if you're in academia, you're in the government, you're an entrepreneur, you have a business, we would love to connect with you and find a way to help share your science and your ideas and help make this come to fruition. So I sometimes say that part of our vision is we're the Wikipedia of healthcare and life sciences, but to me, Wikipedia is flat. It's kind of boring, right? So here, we're going to have lots of video content and lots of conversations and lots of sharing of information and also live events. The project today that we're actually talking about is under the auspices of one of our consortia. So within 1 Million Solutions in Health, we have plans for a number of different consortiums or consortia. The first one that we've had for about 10 years, and we brought it over from another organization. And this has been a collaborative partnership within the pharmaceutical and biotech industry and other stakeholders. So pretty much it's been partnering pharmaceutical and biotech companies with new technology solutions. Again, in the past, we would predominantly do that through commercial organizations who had technologies to bring forward. But Northeastern, our team here at Northeastern, has been the great mavericks, you might say, or leaders in the field. They've decided to partner with us for our first academic partnership, where we're bringing some academic science and technology to this consortium. And so I'm sure there'll be a little bit more things to figure out, a little bit more bumps along the road. But this is the first time we're doing a live event like this, so it's actually been better than some of the other projects we've done. So a little bit about the Technology Evaluation Consortium and why people might want to collaborate. We all know that pharmaceutical and biotech companies are increasingly relying on collaborations. They're looking to share infrastructure, the cost and risk of this drug discovery, trying to gain additional resources, have a larger scientific data set, and more insight from their peers. They're looking to improve the value of the results through synergies created by multiple experts talking together at the same time and leapfrogging us to the future. They're also looking at expediting drug discovery and avoiding duplicate tasks. And then what's happened, it wasn't here 10 years ago. So this was kind of the vision 10 years ago. But in the more recent time, we all know, as I say, that the pharmaceutical industry has de-hired about 50% of the staff in the industry, so it makes things more difficult. It makes things more challenging to come up with those advances when half the people who used to be there are no longer there. So all the more reason why there's more collaborations, more consortiums, more ability for people to really get together and share ideas and again, take that leapfrog and that acceleration and moving forward. So as I said a number of times, our history is that we've been working with this consortium for a long time. And really, the industry came to us and asked us to put this together. And the idea was to streamline the evaluation of new technologies that support the drug development process. And our initial history actually was in the area of drug safety, but in the last couple of years, we've expanded that into other areas. So this is a partial list of some of our technology providers that we have worked with. We've done about over 30 projects. And so if you do know any of these companies, they are predominantly companies in the drug safety area originally, but as I said, we've moved into oncology, we've moved into computational biology, we've now moved into manufacturing over the last couple of years. So we've gotten really more comprehensive in our approach across the board. So I'm going to actually, you want me to just, Ahmed, finish my presentation and then move over to you? Yeah, okay. So I was going to come after Ahmed, but since I'm up here, I'll continue. So as I said, in June of 2014, we decided to expand and globalize the Technology Evaluation Consortium, and really we're looking to put together multiple consortia around data sharing and meaningful technology integration. So that's kind of our vision, and I know that when Brett comes up later to do his section, he'll talk more about our future and our thinking in that area as well. So what we have is we have a great fine-tuned structure, and so what we do is we play that middle role. We play the honest broker. We're looking at the industry, bringing the industry forward, saying, what do you want to hear more about? What are some of the scientific areas that there are issues that you need to address? And then we talk to the vendor community and you say, what are your new technologies? And we kind of play a triaging role at bringing things forward. So if it's just an idea in your head, it's probably too early for the Technology Evaluation Consortium. But if you put it together, if you've tried it, if you've done some experimentation, if you actually have something that people can sink their teeth into and try out, that's the exact time to move into the evaluation stage and then into the validation stage, which is really what we do in our consortium. And we feel that this is really critical to accelerate the adoption of that science, because sometimes we all sit there and we say to ourselves, if I use the analogy of a baby, it's like, I created this baby, and this baby is great, and you're all definitely going to need it. So we hand it over to our potential customers, and the customers say, well, you just didn't get it. You don't really understand what I need. So that's why this consortium has been here so long, and it works so well, is it brings the two sides together early, before you're kind of at the end of the game, early, so that you can kind of figure out what's going to make sense, what does the industry really need, and how can you help address their needs in the best possible way. All of our projects have been led by our scientific director, Dr. Ernie Bush. He has over 30 years in the pharmaceutical industry in preclinical safety assessment, but also in helping in the navigation, the evaluation, and the prioritization of research initiatives. His last major pharmaceutical company was Roche Pharmaceuticals, and he's done a stellar job. All the historical members of this team love Ernie because he's the type of guy who he tells it like it is, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. He just says it and puts it right on the table. So he's a great person to have on the team, and he's done a fabulous job, and he continues to do so as we move forward. You probably all have, or probably many of you have seen this book. It's called Crossing the Chasm. And if you look at the cover of the book, because you can't see me if I point over there, you'll see that there's a gap in that curve. And the problem is that when you develop new technologies, sometimes you're at the beginning of that curve, and then you kind of look and say, how can I jump over that gap? But what so many technologies do is they fall into that gap and they die. And the reason why they die is multifactorial. It's maybe because, again, they thought they knew what the customer needed, and maybe they didn't ask the customer, or maybe they ran out of money, or maybe they didn't get the feedback early enough in the beginning to kind of change the path of their science. So that's really, again, where our role comes in. We help provide that technology insight, that evaluation, and validation. And so what we really do is we sit down with you if you're a new technology, and we help morph you, change you, adapt you, so that when you get in front of the industry, you don't sound so much like a foreign being, like you come from another planet and you're not talking their language. Because that's what we're constantly told by the industry, is that, when an academic person or a new company comes along, they just don't get what we need. Well, that's, again, a really important role that we play, is helping people understand how to get across that chasm and how to make sure that things, when they're screened by the industry, have a greater chance of success. So I just wanted to share with you this one little piece of information here, is that last year we conducted a study, and we were trying to understand the decision-making process and the evaluation of new technologies in the biopharmaceutical industry. So we had nearly 100 people respond to this survey, and it was extremely insightful because we didn't expect the magnitude of the answer that came back. So what we did was we said to the respondents, think about the last technology that you were involved in your organization in which an evaluation or a validation of that technology was conducted. So it wasn't like, think about what your process is. It was, what did you actually do and what did you actually go through a process about? So it gave us two sets of pieces of information. One about the breadth of things that are being evaluated by the industry, and the second, the process. So what I'm just going to share with you today is the breadth of what has been looked at, and one element of the process. So what we heard is that, so this was one of the most important findings, I think, in the study. It says, what were your key concerns in adopting the technology for the first time for your organization? So remember, this is thinking about the one technology that you articulated. What were your key concerns? So they said things like cost, internal competency to use it in my organization, availability of service providers, validation of the technology, integration into existing systems, processes, and decision-making, amount of time required to realize the benefit, the potential interruption and downtime, and the magnitude of the learning curve. But the number one thing, and it's not by a huge, huge margin, but the number one thing that came back consistently, which was really the impetus behind creating this consortium 10 years ago, was the validation of the technology. Because if you imagine it, let's say you're going to go to, Joe or Mary in a pharmaceutical company. They do not sit there as an island unto themselves. They have peers, they have bosses, they have people working for them, subordinates, whatever you want to call them. They have a whole group of people, they have other departments, and they have to go get all those people involved in the decision-making to adopt the new technology. Because it's not like you just can turn on a light switch and you're going to have that new technology in your organization. So this whole process is what we try to touch on with a real focus of the evaluation and validation of the technology, because that's what's really important to the industry. So I'm going to just go through this really quick. If you want to look at it more slowly, you can always look at the webinar afterwards or ask me to send it to you. But when we asked that one question, what have you evaluated in the last 12 months, here's what the industry said. So things like antibodies, biomarkers, chemistry, cell systems, data collection and analysis tools. I have 4 slides like this. Imaging, omics, model studies, tons and tons of stuff going on. Preclinical safety, sequencing, genomics, RNA, and DNA. And I left the best to last, so to speak. Equipment on the right-hand side, high content and high throughput. And you'll see that when we did the study, it actually said that people were looking at nanoparticle technology and nanotechnology for targeted therapy and for reformulation. So again, this is the information that we take when we're looking at new technologies to bring on board into the Technology Evaluation Consortium, is what is the industry already doing, but even more importantly, what do they want to do that they haven't done yet? So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be conducting, again, our annual survey with the industry to ask them, what are you doing now? What have you abandoned? And what are you going to be looking at in the future? So this is the time for us to be talking about this and to help people understand, where we're going in 2015 and beyond. So to summarize, at 1 Million Solutions in Health, and particularly in the consortium, we're all about shaping healthcare by sharing solutions. And today, we just want to let you know that we are trying to grow our membership, particularly if you're in the pharmaceutical industry or if you're a biotech company. We have a number of other projects besides this one that you can get involved in. We have this one here, an in vitro tool to evaluate the efficacy of cancer medications. We also have a computational biology analytical platform project. And then, as you see at the very bottom here, we have today's technology, which is a nanotechnology to turn insoluble compounds into soluble compounds. And then above that, you'll see we also have an in vivo liver toxicity assay project. We have a number of other things that we do too. We also hold exclusive webinars. We have a technology rating and evaluation program called the Signature Square, and we're also putting together a technology curation database application. So tons of things if you join us as a full-fledged member. But today is the focus of the nanotechnology, and I think I'm almost ready to turn it over to Ahmed. So I'll be kind of the MC. I will switch back in a moment to see if anyone has any questions on this portion of the presentation. But if you'd like to know more about how to participate in this on an ongoing basis, if you are in an academic research institution and you're doing drug delivery and drug discovery and development, if you're in a pharmaceutical or biotech company or you're in the government, we kind of put you sort of on the side of the industry. If you have a new technology and you're either a commercial organization, an entrepreneur, or an academic organization, we put you kind of on the technology evaluation side. So I'm sure everyone here today, either live or on the webinar, can find a role for themselves, and we'd love to hear from you. So let me just go back to the chat box and see if anyone has any questions. And nope, no questions from the audience, but if you do have any questions from the audience, just please put them in the chat box. Any questions from anyone in the room before we turn it over to Ahmed to talk about nanotechnology? Okay, what I am going to do now, since that gave a chance for everybody to kind of join in, we have a number of more participants, is I'm going to just let the people in the room go around and introduce themselves, and then we'll go this way so that we end with our next speaker, Ahmed, and he can introduce himself from there. And I'll just scoot back to the, I wonder if we can put your screen up as the main screen, Eric. Let's put you as the main screen. And let's see if we can go. Nope, over here. There we go. So Kevin, if you can just let me know if you can see the main screen of the room, if you can send me a text. And just as each person introduces themselves, speak loud. Go ahead, you're first, Eric.
My name is Eric Howard. I'm the Corporate Outreach Manager for the Center for High Rate Nanomanufacturing at Northeastern University.
Hi, I'm Judy Panayiotou. I'm the CTO of IDEX Material Extraction Technology, that is my facility in the DLD.
Hi, Mark Rubenfield, Health Connections. I've been working with Don and Brett on some initiatives. Actually come from a genomics background, so this is what new to me.
I'm Surabhi, Professor and Chair of Pharmaceutical Sciences at Northeastern University, and delighted.
I'm John Stosuosen. I'm working with Dr. William Grossman. I'm here to help with him today.
I'm Ramin Darwari. I'm from Pfizer, working in a group called Novel Delivery Technology, and we're working basically kind of part of what John mentioned about scouting technologies and evaluating and validating technologies.
I'm Brett Thompson, and Don has one with health and speaking today. Okay. We have off the table. Matthew Olson, Yankee Pharmaceuticals, Discovery Sciences Expert on Innovation.
Rama Ghosh, Yankee Pharmaceuticals, Discovery Sciences, Legal Solutions.
Ivan Ismail, Research Associate at Center for High Rate Nanomanufacturing.
You look louder.
Yeah, Kashi Petkov, I'm a CEO of Neva Incorporated, which is global person law.
I'm Chris Nutshid, Director of Innovations at Nevada.
My name is Marek Kowalkowski. I'm at Applied Biomimetics, working in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're trying to put together the functions of membrane proteins with colloidal self-sound rate and proteins to the function of proteins. Surfaces and right now exploring the functions of using those materials in usability.
I'm Hussein, the director of the Research Center for Higher Education.